These films had the potential to be fantastic until they faced a particularly harsh editor. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 films ruined in the editing room.
Some say Jerusalem is the very center of the world for asking forgiveness. For myself, I call it here. Now.
For this list, we'll be looking at those legendary behind-the-scenes debacles, disagreements, and disasters that result when studios clash with visionaries, or when those visionaries are just plain wacky. Number 10, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Boy, do we have problems up here. The problem of evil in the world.
When it was announced that Zack Snyder would be helming Batman vs. Superman, fans were understandably concerned given his track record. They were right to worry, as what should have been an epic crossover is a bloated mess, taking a fairly straightforward story and convoluting it. Several iconic characters are shoehorned in just to tease future movies, and many scenes feel unnecessary in the long run. Most notably, the whole Lois is the key fiasco. One can't help but feel that there's a better movie buried in its slipshod editing, or at least better scenes. The Ultimate Edition did fix a few problems with the theatrical release.
So, last night was productive?
Nope, it's too low level.
Much like its director, though, the extended cut was still more concerned with looking cool than making narrative sense. Number 9, Bohemian Rhapsody. Although Bohemian Rhapsody won an Oscar for its editing, many have cited it as a masterclass in how not to edit a movie.
What are you afraid of, Freddie?
What do you want? What is the truth?
Can you be honest for once?
Are you lying about your parents, Freddie?
I'm not lying about anything.
Your fans deserve to know the truth, Freddie.
Can you answer the question, please?
The Queen biopic faced its fair share of behind-the-scenes drama, with Dexter Fletcher assuming directorial duties from Bryan Singer towards the end of shooting. With that in mind, editor John Ottman does deserve some credit for getting a troubled production past the finish line.
I've got to make an impression, darling.
You look like an angry lizard.
It's your best work.
Very subtle.
Nevertheless, Bohemian Rhapsody manages to break every rule in editing 101, especially when the band first meets their manager, which has an excessive 60 cuts made in 104 seconds. Even Ottman expressed dissatisfaction, saying, "If there's ever an extended version of the film where I can put a couple scenes back, I will recut that scene."
Look, I admire your enthusiasm. If it goes well, if it happens, I've got a promotional tour of Japan in mind.
We'll want more.
Every band wants more.
Every band's not Queen.
Number 8, Live Free or Die Hard. When one thinks of a Die Hard movie, they think of hardcore shootouts, inventive kills, and vulgar one-liners uttered by a smirking Bruce Willis.
Come to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
That's what director Len Wiseman initially intended with Live Free or Die Hard, the fourth entry in the franchise. While it's often debated where the film ranks compared to the other Die Hard sequels, we can all agree that the studio made a bad call when they insisted on a PG-13 rating.
Oh man, that is all bad.
Terrorist attack.
Not as bad as it looks.
Many of the franchise's R-rated trademarks were thus left on the cutting room floor, much to Willis's dissatisfaction. Though the unrated version isn't perfect, at least it retains some of the bloodshed and John McClane's iconic catchphrase, uncensored. Number 7, Kingdom of Heaven. When you hire Ridley Scott, it's best to leave him to his own devices. This is a man who brought us classics like Alien and Gladiator, after all.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
But rather than releasing Scott's 3-hour-plus movie about the Crusades, 20th Century Fox decided that it could stand to lose 45 minutes. This cut vital character developments and left important plot lines dangling, infuriating Scott and viewers alike.
That is your oath. And that's so you remember it.
It also resulted in a movie that wasn't particularly well-liked, with the director blaming the film's failure on the reliance of test audiences. It wasn't until Scott released his director's cut that Kingdom of Heaven was seen in a new light. The additional footage added the depth that the theatrical cut so sorely lacked.
Were you sure of your end once?
I was.
What was it?
To be buried 100 yards from where I was born.
And now?
Now I sit in Jerusalem and look upon a king.
Number 6, Once Upon a Time in America. By 1984, the crime genre had been solidified by directors such as Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola.
I hear you guys are in business for yourselves now, huh? I hear you're doing real good.
Spaghetti Western favorite Sergio Leone was ready to leave his own mark on the genre by adapting The Hoods, an American crime story about greed, violence, and their uncomfortable place in history. Once Upon a Time in America, the 4-hour-plus cut that debuted at Cannes, received an ovation unlike any other. With such high praise, Warner Brothers' decision to virtually cut the movie by half is downright baffling.
It's 10:25, and I've got nothing left to lose.
It's also reordered, eliminating the flashback style in favor of a linear narrative. But it's not over. A restored print was screened in 2012 at Cannes, and there are still efforts to restore it further.
Noodles. Asleep.
Number 5, Suicide Squad. While the MCU took its time carefully stacking a deck of heroes and villains, DC spent just a few years trying to catch up and distinguish itself.
That is called loaf. Loaf. It's got a little bit of biscotti in there, toenails, rat, everything a grown fella needs like you.
The DCEU wanted to have a grittier tone than Marvel, but David Ayer's Suicide Squad is an outlier. A film too gritty to be cartoonish and too silly to be serious.
With my heart returned, I can finish my weapon. Now tell me how to destroy your armies.
Do your worst, bitch.
That disconnect is in large part due to the disappointment of Batman vs. Superman, which came out almost 5 months earlier. Warner Brothers seemingly lost confidence in Ayer's vision, especially after the trailer promised something more along the lines of Guardians of the Galaxy. Rumors of heavy reshoots and edits damned the film before its release, most contentious being the redacted appearance of the Joker.
Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
Number 4, Fantastic Four. When Josh Trank landed the directing gig for Fox's Fantastic Four reboot, he was seen as a wonderkin.
Well, if you came to us for help, be better you didn't insult both of us and turn back around.
After all, he had only one feature under his belt, the found-footage superhero riff Chronicle, and now he was helming a major franchise film. However, reports have painted Trank as an enfant terrible, who supposedly trashed his rented house with dogs and nearly came to blows with Miles Teller. His alleged poor behavior aside, Fox wasn't pleased with Trank's film, ordering significant reshoots.
It's not enough to ruin your world. Now you want to ruin mine.
The day before its release, Trank tweeted that he'd made a great film. We'll just never see it. Whether you blame Trank or the studio for the final product, their feud shines through in this poorly paced, horrendously edited train wreck.
You're disqualified.
Wait, what?
This is a science fair, not a magic competition. I don't see any real science here.
Number 3, Justice League. The history behind Zack Snyder's Justice League is one plagued with production delays, tragedy, and vain mustaches.
You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
Doesn't mean I'm wrong.
The film had weak foundations before cameras rolled, trying to move past the disaster of Batman vs. Superman while still acknowledging it. The studio was hoping Justice League would be the soft reboot their universe needed.
Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanished. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
Due to the tragic suicide of his daughter, however, Snyder left the project amid post-production. The studio quickly hired the almost always reliable Joss Whedon to fill in. The tonal shift between the two directors, however, is noticeably awkward. While diehard fans claim the Snyder Cut would be superior, past evidence suggests otherwise, but we're set to find out either way when Zack Snyder's Justice League is released on HBO Max in 2021.
Listen, I was wondering if you could put out a, the feeler, like aquatic, I mean, do you talk to fish?
Number 2, Alien 3. Alien 3 is what happens when B-movie marketing meets an A-picture release.
What do we do now? Who's in charge? Organize. We gotta organize, right?
Like old monster movies, Alien 3 had a poster and a tagline before it had a script. The initial promise was ambitious. After over a decade since the first film, audiences would see the xenomorphs on Earth. But the script underwent numerous drafts and passed through various directors until it resembled nothing like the teaser image.
You've been in my life so long, I can't remember anything else.
The script was written on set while a then-newcomer David Fincher thrust into the major cinema system. What results is a film fans consider a major misstep in the franchise. Fincher refused to participate in retrospectives of the series, even for an assembly cut that differs greatly from what was released.
How did you get this wonderful sight?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Blade Runner. To date, there are 7 known cuts of Ridley Scott's sci-fi cult classic available, with a rumored 8th 4-hour cut the director screened for studio personnel. Like it or hate it, there's no denying Scott was the cinematic forefather of dystopian cinescapes. Blade Runner is a visual delight, but what narrative you get differs greatly depending on which cut. Much has been written on Scott's vision, and the ultimate question is if Rick Deckard is human or replicant.
Took more than 100 for Rachel, didn't it?
She doesn't know.
She's beginning to suspect, I think.
Suspect? How can it not know what it is?
Commerce is our goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
At first, however, Warner Brothers was unsure how to sell it, making changes due to test screenings. Ford was particularly irritated, lamenting the inclusion of a voiceover. The film was later salvaged through Scott's director's cut and final cut, through which the auteur restored his original version.
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.